Kevin Mitnick was the most evasive hacker to ever access a computer. He is frequently referred to as the world's most wanted hacker by security professionals. It took the U.S. feds over 3 years to apprehend him. How did he accomplish that? Like and subscribe to our channel as we investigate the twisty tale of Kevin Mitnick. The story of the man who calls himself the world's most famous hacker contains a moral. It's often the human element, not the high tech, that allows intrusion into the most secure of systems, which allows hackers to exist in our midst. Kevin Mitnick was a nuisance. He broke into computers for more than 15 years, looked about, took items, and then broke into more computers. Although he didn't cause much severe harm, his frequent visits grew annoying, especially if you tried to catch him. He would then mess up your phone service, private mail, credit history, and even your employment. Despite being detained 5 times for his online trespassing, Mitnick wouldn't give up. Mitnick became a legend, thanks to his obsession with breaking and entering, making headlines in the New York Times as well as in the hacker community. The fact that Mitnick has the amazing ability to hack any system contributes to his appeal. Mitnick could wiggle his way into almost any network's core, from a military computer to FBI and DMV records. Mitnick, at a young age, first wanted to be a magician. He developed an interest in communications after discovering how to use a small blue box to make phone calls. He developed a fascination for breaking codes at the young age of 12. He reportedly employed dumpster diving and social engineering as his major tactics to get around punch card system in the Los Angeles bus system. According to reports, he managed to persuade a bus driver to inform him where he could purchase a ticket punch for a fictitious school project. After that, he used unused transfer slips that he had discovered in a dumpster close to the bus company garage to board any bus in the greater Los Angeles area. Later, he started using social engineering as his main technique for getting data, such as usernames, passwords, and modem phone numbers. By this point, it was clear that Mitnick loved getting around security measures and gaining user information, but it was also clear that he was becoming overconfident, as he attracted more attention by engaging in larger and progressively more risky acts. When Mitnick was 16 years old, a buddy gave him the phone number for the ARC, the computer system that Digital Equipment Corporation used to create its RSTSE operating system software, allowing him his first unauthorized access to a computer network. In 1988, he was charged with and found guilty of stealing DEC's software by hacking into the company's computer network. He received a 12-month prison term, followed by 3 years of house arrest. Mitnick broke into the voicemail systems at Pacific Bell at the end of his supervised release. Mitnick escaped when a warrant was issued for his arrest, spending the next 2.5 years on the run. The U.S. Department of Justice claims that Mitnick accessed numerous computer networks without authorization while he was a fugitive. He stole valuable proprietary software from some of the biggest cellular telephone and computer corporations in the nation, among other things, and used counterfeit mobile phones to disguise his whereabouts. In addition, Mitnick changed computer networks, intercepted and stole passwords, and hacked into private email accounts to read them. Despite having his image on an FBI Most Wanted poster, Mitnick remained undetected. He reduced his weight and changed his gait by walking with stones in his shoes. In Denver, Mitnick worked as a systems administrator under the alias Eric Weiss, which is a playful allusion to Houdini's birth name, and then resided in Seattle as Brian Merrill, a medical center IT worker. Mitnick deftly reasoned that if he could hack mobile phones just as easily as regular phones, he could begin at a mobile device and weave his way nearly undetectably to any computer in the world. He wanted to locate someone who could write code, someone with specialized, fast-paced mobile phone software, and then use social engineering to steal the products from him or her. Mitnick made many fruitless attempts to trick certain prospective candidates into giving him their code before settling on Tsutomu Shinomura as the one with the resources. Shimomura was a well-known security specialist with a personality almost as complex as Mitnick, so it was a risky move. Shimomura, a 30-year-old Japanese national who loved science, was also a ski bum, a computational physicist with long hair, and a hacker. But unlike Mitnick, Shimomura always reported security flaws to the appropriate authorities rather than to hackers. Tsutomu Shimomura therefore viewed the use of a cutting-edge hacking technique to get access to his complex computer system in his San Diego home in December 1994 and the subsequent theft of some opulent cell phone tools as a personal challenge. When Mitnick signed on to the internet at 2 a.m., Tsutomu Shimomura used his computer to track the intrusion to a cell tower near Raleigh, which assisted police in locating Mitnick. Mitnick was finally caught by the police February 15, 1995, at his apartment in Raleigh, North Carolina. He was charged with federal offenses stemming from a 2.5-year period of computer hacking, including computer and wire fraud. He was discovered in possession of numerous fake identification documents, over 100 cloned phone codes, and duplicated cell phones. Mitnick was accused of interception of wire or electronic communications, 14 counts of wire fraud, 8 charges of possessing unauthorized access devices, gaining unauthorized access to a federal computer without authorization, and for causing damage to a computer. Despite having Asperger's syndrome, Mitnick's diagnosis was not used as proof during his trial. As part of a plea deal, Mitnick admitted guilt to 4 charges of wire fraud, 2 counts of computer fraud, and 1 count of illegally intercepting a wire transmission in 1999, before the Central District of California United States District Court in Los Angeles. As punishment for breaking the terms of his 1989 supervised release sentence for computer fraud, he received a sentence of 46 months in jail plus 22 more months. By breaking into Pacific Bell voicemail and other systems, he admitted to breaking the terms of his supervised release. He also acknowledged hanging out with other known computer hackers, in this case, co-defendant Louis DePayne. Mitnick served 5 years in prison, 4.5 years pre-trial, and 8 months in solitary confinement, because according to Mitnick, law enforcement officials persuaded a judge that he had the ability to start a nuclear war by whistling into a payphone, implying that law enforcement told the judge that he could somehow dial into the NORAD modem via a payphone from prison and communicate with the modem by whistling to launch nuclear missiles. The absence of kosher food at the prison where he was being held was also covered by a number of media outlets. In 2000, on January 21st, he was freed. He was initially prohibited from using any form of communication throughout his supervised release other than a landline telephone, which ended on January 21, 2003. As part of the plea agreement, Mitnick agreed to a unique judicial Son of Sam law variant that forbade him for 7 years from making money off of movies or books based on his illegal behavior. All of Mitnick's criminal activity, detention, prosecution, and related journalism generated controversy. Even though Mitnick was found guilty of illegally copying software, his supporters contend that his penalty was harsh and that many of the accusations made against him were false and unfounded. According to Mitnick's 2002 book, The Art of Deception, he only used passwords and codes that he obtained through social engineering to breach systems. He asserts that he didn't employ software applications or hacking tools to break passwords or otherwise compromise the security of computers or phones. The prosecution against Mitnick put the recently passed laws meant to combat computer crime to the test, and it also increased public awareness of network computer security. The dispute persists, nevertheless, and the Mitnick case is frequently used in modern media as an illustration of the impact that publications like newspapers and other media sources may have on law enforcement officials. Despite having simple access to proprietary software, credit cards, and social security information, Mitnick was thought to never have spent a penny of other people's money. He never pirated any lines of code or stole anyone's identity. He had a really peculiar motivation or addiction, but this led him into a lot of difficulty. Mitnick still sports the hacker hat, although it is now a different color. He wears one by adhering to legal and permitted compliances. In a book titled Ghost in the Wires, he has written about all of his exploits. Kevin Mitnick's story has a different climax than we would normally think. Currently, Mitnick works as a computer security consultant for an American company called Mitnick Security Consulting. He is also an author and hacker. Currently, he assists companies in evaluating the strengths, weaknesses, and potential gaps in their organization's security. Mitnick also provides advisory services to the FBI and Fortune 500 organizations. He offers penetration testing services to some of the biggest corporations in the world and teaches social engineering courses to numerous businesses and government organizations. Mitnick now works for the very same firms he used to hack into thanks to his infamous reputation, which previously made him one of America's most wanted men. Some of these names are big global enterprises like IBM, Nokia, Motorola, and others. So do you see Kevin Mitnick as a good guy or a bad guy? Let us know in the comments.